This is If My People Bible Reading, Part 73. We are now in the book of Numbers, and we'll begin. Chapter 1, verse 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moses in the tent of meeting in the desert of Sinai. Now, those days the desert of Sinai was much bigger than today. That's a comment, because historically the Sinai is the southern part of the land of Israel. And Saudi Arabia claimed their own through the kingdom of Saud, thus the name Saudi Arabia, Arabic. And but in these days it was called the Sinai, and there's a place called Midian, which is like the middle, kind of a good key word, because if you look at Saudi Arabia and Sinai, modern day Sinai, the mountain of YHWH is the mountain of almonds. Some people say the mountain of Yahweh, the mountain of the laws, is about the middle. Okay? Kind of gives you a good perspective as you're reading this about Midian and where Jethro came from. Okay. On the first day of the second month of the second year. So they've been traveling, how long? They've been traveling over a month now. And because they left on the 15th of the first month, the 15th day of that year. Verse 2. So take a census of the whole Israelite community by their clans and families, listing every man by name, one by one. Now, in Bible research before this, Yahweh says not the number of the people. And afterwards, not the number of the people. When he tells you to do it, you do it. So this is a direct command. This is a Book of Numbers Torah command. And comment, again, frankly, this book is named Numbers because of the counting that occurs throughout. Doing things in an orderly way is commanded by Yahweh. 1 Corinthians 14:40. Going through life as a Christian, a believer, is not accomplished by orderly ways. We don't like to do orderly things. We like to be independent thinkers. But being orderly is commanded by Yahweh. Waiting for a sign to come down daily, tell us what to do. I've heard so many people say that. Well, I just wait and the Lord tells me what to do every day. He does. Okay, he comes down and talks to you. And then most people say, well, he doesn't really talk to me. In other words, don't fool yourself that whatever you do is what you think you ought to do, and you're in the Lord because you got your name it and claim it Christian. You have to walk it out, and the only way to walk it out is to read the Word. And if you can't read, have someone read it for you. And if you can't do that, have listened to it audible. And if you can't do that, then live with someone who is, and you can watch their walk. If that's how low you have to go in life. And there's a lot of people who can't help but watch what other people do because they're physically not capable of doing anymore, especially as they get older. Many people today believe that you can stop reading the Bible daily once you get saved because it's all in you. The Holy Spirit just speaks to you. You don't need the Bible. And go through life getting special messages from Yahweh daily. It doesn't work that way. Prayer and supplication is our walk and methods of communication with the Father through the Son. And in our Bible, we point you to the appendix. Go back to the appendix and take a look at that. So this is what Noah commanded. Let's figure out where everybody is and who the family members are and how many's in each tribe and who, number them. Let's get them all listed. Let's do a census. Okay. In verse 49 of chapter 1, it says, you must not count the tribe of Levi or include them in the census of the other Israelites. So from that point on of what happened in at the mountain before Moses came down with the Ten Commandments, it was not good. And that was the divorce decree. And as a result of that, the tribe of Levi did things right, did things wrong, but they were for the rest of their lives. And this means forever on earth. the tribe of Levi is to not be a given land. There will be appointed land. So when you look at the Millennium, you'll see the 12 tribes are scattered around, and then there's an oblation area for the sanctuary, and then there's a northern sanctuary area, given oblation for the tribe of Levi, and it's big. But they live off the offerings and givings of the Millennium. So that's what all the offerings, whether it's cash or bitcoins or grain or animals, so that people can eat in the Millennium, they receive that because their job is to work for Yahweh to take care of his sanctuary. Now, if there's a temple on there, that's just fine. I'm fine with all that. I'm not going to argue with the 2,000 people who want to argue with different ways what the Word says. Just read what it says. That's what they're going to do. So, it says in verse 50, instead, appoint the Levites to be in charge of the tabernacle of testimony over all its furnishings and everything belonging to it. Now, the tabernacle of testimony in the future, in the Millennium, is Yeshua's needs and his priests that are going to be there so that everyone throughout the world travels and makes pilgrimages to Israel at the appointed times to give their offerings. That's not sacrificial animal blood offerings. Just get that out of your head. That's not going to happen. It is for offerings. It's for the people, especially the Levites and the tribes that are there, and the priests. They don't have to go out there and sell shoes on the street corner because they serve the Yahweh and the Son daily. And verse 51, whenever the tabernacle is to move. Now this is talking about here and now. This breaks it down because the tabernacle does move. It moves 40 some odd times, as we looked at in the last couple parts. The Levites take it down, and whenever the tabernacle is to be set up, the Levites do all that. Anyone else who gets near it shall be put to death. In the future, it's a specific area. So can the people of the world come and take a tour, like Disneyland, of the tabernacle, of the sanctuary area, which is located north, about 12 and a half miles north of Jerusalem, modern-day Jerusalem today? No. They're not going to enter it. They're not worthy because they still have to. Many of those will not believe and not given their full faith in Yahweh and the Son. This still is going to happen to the very last day on earth until this earth melts and dissolves. There's still going to be people who hold out the very last second. Good luck with that. If that's the game that people play that game today. Well, I believe in Jesus, but I'm not going to follow him. I'm not going to follow any of the instructions given in the Bible. None of the Old Testament. I'm not going to do that. And I knew it's the first time I've ever heard there are 1,050 commands in the New. Really, they're so obvious, but we make them very obvious in this Bible reading, and it will be very, very obvious when we get to the new covenant. So I put a comment in line 54. The Israelites did just as Yahweh commanded Moses. Comment note already that Levi was not then and will not be priest for the people, but to attend to the tabernacle of Yahweh's needs. Priest for the Yahweh's needs. Also know that there is a tent of meeting and tent of testimony, one containing the ark of the Holy of Holies and the other where Moses met the tribes for meetings and teachings. These two combined. Now, as we read before, Moses would meet with the elders outside a ways from where all the 12 tribes were. In Exodus, we read that. Now, in Deuteronomy, in Leviticus, now we're in the book of Numbers. And you're seeing, so now we put the tent of meeting in the center of the camp. And Yahweh, the glory of it, the glory of Yahweh moved into that tent area. The smoke during the day and the fire during the night, and hovered over that tent. So in other words, Yahweh has moved in with the people. Okay, he's not sitting offside in the top of a mountain anymore, making all kinds of rumbly noises, and he's not a couple 100 yards or a mile away with Moses talking only to those people. Everything that goes on can be seen and heard in the middle of the camp. Nobody's missing out on anything. Nobody's getting cheated out of anything. Chapter 2, Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, the Israelites are to camp around the tent of meeting, some distance from it, each man under his standard. And that explains what I just said. So the people were numbered in chapters 2 and 3, and everybody's listed by the names of the families and so forth, specific names. And then once again in chapter 5, verse 1, Yahweh said to Moses, command the Israelites to send away from the camp anyone who has infectious skin diseases and is discharged of any kind, who is similarly unclean because of a dead body. Send away the male and female alike, send them outside the camp so they not defile the camp where I will dwell among them. Yahweh does not want to be anywhere near some kind of a disease. Now, let me explain that. So Yahweh's cold-hearted. No, what it is he's explaining to us very slowly, in which most institutional churches don't get it. He's explaining this. Did Yahweh ever approve and call good any disease, any kind of animal that just devours and tears and rips apart other animals in a way that was today? In other words, if a lion in India attacks a child, usually they don't do anything with lions. They let everything just run around, do whatever they want. There are animals that have been manipulated, and one of these that I'm using an example is at the first Earth Age, and with animals that were manipulated in the first, in which they became tyrannosauruses and dinosaurs, terrible lizards. Does Yahweh approve of any kind of virus? And who? In other words, he doesn't. He doesn't even want to be around it. So he's telling you. He's telling you this. I didn't create that. I created this, and this has been altered because, like most diseases, we're now living in coronavirus. Coronavirus is something that always existed. There are a number of chemicals that have always existed on this earth, like radium and uranium, and all of them. And they have been altered. So now you can make nuclear bombs. Now you can make ricin. And you can make ricin's asbestos. Asbestos is a natural substance. It's throughout the earth. But no, man came along and altered it and made it very dangerous. And it kills people with lungs diseases. Cuts off their breathing. Ricin, naturally out there, altered by man. And I'm saying altered by Hasatan and all his minions and the large pharmaceuticals. Altered. Everything is altered. DNA is altered. Yahweh's telling you right here, chapter 5. There it is, plain as day. I didn't do this. I didn't want this, and I don't want to be around it. But you have made a decision because of you ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You made that decision. You're going to live with everything you created, whether it be good for you or whether it be evil for you. But you elect those within the millions and millions of people who are my people. He's going to look after you. But, as we say over and over again, he's looking after your soul. So, he's looking after your soul. So, yeah, you may be a wonderful, just incredible Christian. You may be born today with all the altered DNA defective parents. You may end up with all kinds of problems from your birth. Doesn't mean that Yahweh doesn't love you. He hates what has taken over your body, but he loves your soul. So yeah, he's worried about your soul. And that's what salvation is, the salvation of your soul. Okay. Chapter 6 and 7, we're still naming people again. Here's something here in chapter 6 and let's see where we at here, 23. I'm going to stop there because I can't make it in time. That's kind of important. That has to do with the temple and the temple then and where the temple is now. So I'll see you at the next reading. Blessings.